What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Appreciate y'all always for tapping in with your boy, the Network Ninja, back with another video. This one, I just want to share all my study resources, pretty much the sauce, the whole formula for what I do when I'm trying to take these IT exams. This is for anybody doing that, the CCNA. I've passed that twice. I've passed it when it was the ICND 1 and you had to get the ICND 2. I passed it when it was just like getting the CCNA. And most recently, I passed the CCNP Encore. I've also passed the Juniper test back in the day. So I've been doing this for, like I said, for about 10 years. And right now, on this part of my journey is really about just sharing the information and trying to help anybody that's trying to be a beginner or trying to get into this stuff, because I remember how hard it was for me. So I'm just trying to make it that much more easier for you. Before we get started, and before I forget, I definitely want to share this resource which I knew about, or which I wish I knew about when I first started studying. It's really a good resource. It's on the Cisco Learning Network website. I'll show you that here in a second. And it's really like two resources, and I'll definitely leave the links to this in the description below in this video, so that you can have them as a resource for when you're studying as well. So let's get started. Let me jump over there to that real quick. All right, so as you can see, I'm on this Cisco Learning Network. You're gonna have to, it's a free account. You just sign up and then you're gonna have to have that account. But once you're here, you're gonna wanna go to study resources. So the first link that I'm gonna show you is gonna be studying for results link. So it's going to bring you over here to this webinar. This webinar is like 3 hours long. It's by Dr. Stephanie Burns. They did this webinar. I say they did it like years ago, but this stuff is hidden for it's still hidden till this day. I mentioned this link. I've left it in the description of other videos before, but I think it's important to bring it up now for this video as well. So this link is going to show you everything. I've done it on other videos on like learning how to study, and this is where I'm getting the information from. And those videos are just me just trying to break it down differently than what she already did. But you got part 1 here, techniques for making learning memorable, learning from text, how you're supposed to read those OCG books and everything so that you can get the most out of it, how to break down these new words, terms, acronyms. Just it's so much game in this whole webinar if you sit there, even from getting the most from live recorded lectures. When I'm doing the lectures, how you can really be engaged and just become a more effective learner. It says right here. So if you don't know about this link, definitely get in there, look at the ratings. You see what I'm saying? Just nothing but good feedback. It just teaches you how to become a better learner and get away from them traditional ways of studying where you just memorize stuff. The second link that I want to show you is going to be the Cisco certification exam tutorials. So this one, let me play it here. Welcome to this. So this thing is just going to walk you through. If you ain't never took a CCNA exam, it's going to break it down. It's going to show you even like the beginning, because when you start these CCNA exams, you be thinking that the test starts and everything, but you get like a little questionnaire. You got to do the little EULA and stuff. So you still be nervous, but at least seeing this, it just like, oh, you know what to expect. This shows you how the labs, very important, because if you get hit with labs and everything, you're gonna have to know how they're showing these two different panes. One's for topology, one's for your tasks and everything. It breaks it down. Also, something that I did learn was that if you get a CCNA exam, I think this is true. Somebody can tell me if I'm wrong, but if you see that at the beginning of your test, you're going to get 100 questions, at the beginning of your CCNA, it's going to tell you pretty much you got 100 questions, you got 120 minutes to do them. Or it's going to say something like you get 90 questions and you got 120 minutes to do it. If you get one that says 100, you can expect to not have any labs. And then if you get like 90, you can expect to have like 3 or 4 labs on there. And if you guys are finding any value in this, any useful information, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna keep dropping as much information like this as I can for y'all, and hopefully it's gonna help somebody out there that's pretty much a beginner or maybe stuck or just didn't know about it, and you already are studying for your CCNP encore or something like that. Hopefully it's going to help somebody like that. So now let's get started with the actual video. All right, up first, to get started with the actual video, we're going to go over the first resource that I use, and this is going to be your lectures. You're going to want to get and sign up to a good video training where you're going to learn about theory, and even doing and they're going to have tutorials and everything, stuff similar to what I offer on my channel. I know I'm not the best, but I'm trying to get better at giving you guys them good tutorials and walkthroughs in the labs. And then I'm going to try to do some theory stuff. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on, perfecting the craft and trying to really serve up that good content for y'all. But you want to find these good resources. The best I've found so far is CBT Nuggets. That one is because it's straight to the point. If you go look at reviews and stuff, you'll start to see, like, in these forums and on Reddit and stuff, that it's not as in-depth and stuff. But you can use like YouTube University, but stuff isn't really organized. But there are some people, good CCNA content creators, like a Jeremy's IT Lab. That's one that has just whole training course for free, because CBT Nuggets you are going to have to pay for. But again, if you haven't seen my video, I'm saying you need to invest in yourself. I believe, because that's going to just motivate you even more to get the CCNA. But there's going to be the free. You got David Bombal, who's also like an OG. Keith Barker, definitely the OG of IT if you don't know him. But CBT Nuggets is really good. They got different trainers on there. My boy Jeremy Char on there. That's the one where I even got the name Network Ninja from, because he says if you want to be a ninja with all of the commands that he be showing you, he definitely trains really well. So CBT Nuggets is highly recommendable. You also have other ones on Udemy, but a lot of people ain't really feeling those. Some people are. Me personally, CBT Nuggets, if you're going for the CCNA, that's the way to go. Now, when you start getting more complex with it, like maybe the CCNP Encore and stuff, you might want to go and find some other kind of training, maybe like a Kevin Wallace, who's another good one. Or there's other people out here. I found somebody on YouTube named Nicholas Russo. Very good content out there. He's on Pluralsight, so I highly recommend those. But just basic CCNA, that CBT Nuggets is enough, and it'll get you through. The next topic to talk about, after you get a good video training, that's not going to be enough, right? You're going to have several different video training resources. YouTube, putting a little bit together from maybe the CBT Nuggets or whoever you pick. What is it? The IP Pro TVs, whoever's out there that you picked, right? You're going to have to get a good book. I know Todd Lamley does a good one. I've never read any of his books. I just seen it reviewed a lot on these YouTube videos and just around the way. I seen that this cat Tom Lamley's pretty good. But I really rock with the OCG books for any of my Cisco studies. But I'm going to let you know this. With those OCG books, I have never read them cover to cover. And I still passed the CCNA exam. So how I really use them is, number one, they have these quizzes at the beginning of every chapter called Do I Know This Already quiz. And what I kind of do with that is I just read for understanding. I look at the questions that they're asking about each chapter, and then as I go in and read the chapter, I'm just picking through it to find the answers and how they're breaking it down and why they're asked the question, and try to really understand the technology. Also, I'm just trying to pass the exam. If you don't take nothing else from this video, just know that I'm just trying to get you to pass the exam. That means that if you want to sit there, read it cover for cover and know it in detail, the OCG book, almost 1,000 pages, more power to you. Go ahead and do that. But if you just want to pass the exam, there's other ways to read that book to where you don't have to read it cover to cover and know every sentence in there in detail. Now, if you can do that, people got photographic memories. I know it's not cookie cutter for everybody to think the same way, but if you're like me and you're just trying to pass the exam and People might say maybe you're not a good engineer or a good network admin. I beg to differ, because like I said, I like myself, even though I didn't read it cover to cover. You're going to get the experience both from the exam, and then when you start working with the technology through labs or through production, then it's really work ethic, and it's who can outwork who to say who's the better network engineer. Because I've met people that don't even read that book and can run circles around people that have read the book. So I'm not going to subscribe to that kind of idea if they're saying all of that, that you have to read the book in detail again. And then people that say you have to be passionate about computer networking in order to be successful, because I'm living proof that you don't. So yeah, just get you a good book, and whether you go the OCG route or not, find you a technique. And again, I learned this technique from that link that I showed earlier, Dr. Stephanie Burns. She just says, read for an understanding. Go in there and prompt your mind for what you're going to read. Don't just sit there, be reading, and then when you get through the book, you don't even know what you read. Read for comprehension, read for understanding, to try to understand the technology. And that technique about reading, that do I know this already quiz, for me is a technique for me to prompt my brain before I just read it, so I can get the most value out of my time and my effort when I'm reading that book. All right, now let's move on to the next topic. You already know this one is probably the one that everybody wants to do first, but yeah, you could do it at any time of your studying, but it's definitely, you need to go and have to put some hours on this one. This is going to be your labbing, getting your hands-on training. So I use Cisco Packet Tracer for this. If I was CCNA, if you're going for different higher level certs like the CCNP, definitely you're going to want to use GNS3, or there's PyNet, I think that's a new one that's out there that's free, or some kind of lab that you can just lab up these protocols and these technologies and troubleshoot them. And that's when it really gets reinforced. At least for me, that's when I really start to learn, because it's very hard to try to read through a lab in the OCG book or read through a lab online and then just not really understand it. But when you're walking through a tutorial and you lab it up at the same time, and you see like the timers change for the different learning states and everything, or the different STP states that a port goes through, from when it goes from a blocking state to a forwarding state, that's when this stuff really starts to sink in, and that's when it really starts to become real. Yes, it's going to be tough setting up these labs. Trust me, that is so time consuming to sit there and configure a lab. But as you get into it, you'll find shortcuts. You'll find ways that make it easier, make it a routine, make it a habit for you to do. And besides that, this is what you signed up for. You might as well get used to configuring it. That way, when you're going to be doing this on production equipment and you got to configure a VLAN, you're not going to be second guessing yourself because you've done it so much in the lab. Just make a hobby out of it. Make it just part of you. Just make it part of your lifestyle. Just like I relate this just to like working out or just anything in life. If you just make a lifestyle, disciplining yourself to eat right, it's the same thing. If you can't just sit there and eat McDonald's every single day. You got to have a lifestyle of eating fruit and discipline to eat fruit and to go work out, and to what I'm doing right now, to make YouTube videos. This stuff ain't easy. You feel me? So the same thing with configuring these routers. It's not going to be easy, no. But you just gotta do it. This is what you signed up for. Just fix your mind and just have that different kind of mindset and that kind of approach when you go to do your hands-on training in your labs, because that's where you really gonna grow and really level up your talent and your skills. Also, if you are blessed enough to have a little bit of money, right? Choose some cheap hardware wherever you can find it. If you're working in a job, try to ask, if you're working like an IT job, try to ask to get your hands on somebody's network equipment. If you know somebody that's studying it or something like that, eBay, wherever you can go, Amazon, try to get your hands on the hardware. And I say this because, yes, the packet tracer in that virtual environment is definitely good. But if you can see a router fire up or a switch fire up, you can see when you plug in a cable and you can see the switches and the LEDs start to come on. or when you have to actually console into it versus SSH into it, and you really get the feel of it, it really brings it to life. It really gives you a different perspective other than just doing it from that virtual lab setting. Just having that real physical hardware just adds another layer to your learning. So I definitely recommend that if you're going to do your hands-on training. Finally, it's the practice exams for me. So there's so many practice questions and everything that you can get out there. Definitely you want to avoid the dumps, so because those are going to be out there, and you might even stumble on a site that you think are good practice questions, and then later on you find out it's a dump and all of this other stuff. So to save you the time and research, the only legit exams that I use that are they're extremely good, and you probably already know about them, Miss Boson. Just go get you. Again, this costs money though, so I don't knock nobody for not doing it, because there are free practice questions. I don't know too many where it's at, but I've always been blessed enough to have a couple dollars. If you got some money to buy some J's or whatever your thing is, if you got enough money to go buy that new Call of Duty or whatever the case, or whatever, I'm saying there's some kind of extra money that you can find. Invest in yourself again. Go get that practice exam, because that exam is even that is close to the test, whether it's close to the test, it just gets you in that mindset of how to take a test, right? How to, look at the questions and see how somebody is trying to test you on your knowledge. And then more importantly, it gives you explanations. That way you could do the research then and like look around in the OCG book, look into videos, do the research and put everything together while you have the time to do it, because when that test date comes, there ain't gonna be no explanation for no answers. You're just gonna be expected to know the answers. So just get it out the way, get into them Boson exams, keep practicing and practicing and practicing on them, and I promise you, after a while, you're gonna start getting the feel for it. It's gonna lower your test anxiety, and it's just gonna be that much better for you. So them Boson exams is where it's at, and you could just look at that as just like your little practice, like you practicing on your jump shot. That's where you're going to do. Or, just weight training. That's where you're just going to get them reps in when you practice those questions. So it gives you a little timer to simulate the test, to make sure that you're staying on time. So you're not just getting lost in the questions and just like reading the question and like, what did that? No, you're focused and you're really getting after them and attacking the questions. That way, you just go beast mode when you go to sit the exam, and you just go and punish that exam because you already know what time it is. And you'll definitely see, I promise you, you'll start to see that when you start looking at all these different questions from the Boson practice exams. In the OCG, they got those practice questions. You'll start to see, and as soon as you start labbing and then you're doing the video lectures and everything, and you're reviewing your notes, make sure that you review your notes and all of that. Don't just take the notes, sit there and go over them. Even if you took them a month ago, go over them. Don't forget about your notes and just put them to the side. Just go over them. Use them to answer the question, like open book tests. That's how you should look at them Boson exams. After a while, it's going to start, like your brain is going to start seeing like, oh, this is just common sense. And when it starts to get like that, is because you've actually learned and you've actually grown and you've developed the skill. Now you're like on a whole nother level to where you go to sit that exam, it's just going to be game time, and you're going to know exactly what to do. And they're not going to be able to really to throw nothing at you that's totally in left field. You're going to be maybe 1 or 2 off, but you're going to be right there in range to either. If you fail it, it's only going to be a little bit off to where you're going to be like, oh, I just got to tighten up on subnetting, or I just got to tighten up on OSPF. You're not going to be to where you just get complete zeros and you zero out the whole test and you don't know nothing. If you follow this kind of structure and this kind of formula that I said. Hopefully I made sense with everything that I said in this video. Appreciate you if you made it this long in the video, because this is pretty much the wrap up of it. And I hope that you find this information useful, and if you do, go ahead and apply it to your life, to your studying, especially if you're a beginner. Just really rewatch the video if you have to, but just to sum it all up, what you want to do is you want to do your video lectures. You want to get the most out of those, right? Then you want to get a book. You want to read it for understanding. I don't recommend use it as a reference. I don't recommend anybody to just read these books. These are technical books, and you're going to be reading there for days because it's like 1,000 pages. Again, read for understanding, more importantly, to understand the technology. However, you got to do that. Then you want to do your hands-on, your lab training, and most importantly, if you can, get your hands on real world equipment and console into stuff and figure stuff out that way. And then finally, you want to practice everything that you've learned, right? All your theory, all your hands-on training, and put it all together, everything that you've read through the book, and practice it in your testing environment, whatever test you get your hands on, whatever practice test you can get your hands on. But I recommend that Boson exam because that one's the best one. It's going to give you explanations and help you with your research and your studies. Again, guys, appreciate all my ninjas for always locking in with your boy, the Network Ninja. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you're feeling the content, and I'm gonna keep it coming for y'all. I'm gonna keep it coming for y'all regardless, because again, I'm trying to make a lifestyle out of this and just keep dropping these videos on y'all weekly. And go ahead, subscribe, share it if you know somebody that might need to hear this information, that is studying, and you think that it might be useful for them. And definitely like it, to get them algos going for your boy, and to you know what I'm saying, turn me up. So I appreciate all y'all. Salute, and I'm gonna holla at y'all as always on that next video. Peace.